Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, Bitcoin finds itself in a very bullish pattern down on the hourly chart and looks like it's going to attempt a bullish breakout thereof. Probably today. As you can see, in the next 12 hours or so, this multi-day long pattern will be coming to a head and Bitcoin will be forced to break bullish or bearish. So in today's video, we'll be outlining this current trend and discussing whether or not Bitcoin will break to the upside or to the downside, because if Bitcoin does actually break bearish, this could be the start of something quite a bit bigger than itself. So we're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video. But anyway, guys, before we dive on into it, I do first want to mention that we've just started a new sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. If you use the coupon code February 2020 at checkout, you're going to be getting $40 off on the academy that'll teach you everything from the very basics of technical analysis all the way through the advanced concepts that you're going to need to know to be profitable in these markets. So I highly recommend you checking us out. We'll be discussing more of that at the end of the video. But anyway, guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Guys, I think it's pretty obvious that Bitcoin is starting a new bullish uptrend. I think it's pretty obvious that Bitcoin is at least close to entering a new Bitcoin bull market. In fact, there's a very strong argument to be made that we are already in one after Bitcoin has gotten above that 200 daily simple moving average, which we'll be talking about a little bit more later on in today's video. And that shines through on the hourly chart as well, because as you guys can see, we're currently looking at an uptrend of support down here on the hourly chart and a downtrend of resistance. What that forms is, as you guys know, a consolidation pattern. In this case, it's also known as a bull pennant because Bitcoin was bullish moving into this pattern, and now Bitcoin should be expected to move to the upside because of this pattern. Now, that's what Bitcoin would be expected to do. As you guys know, Bitcoin has been in an uptrend here, and it's kind of needed a correction, but it hasn't had one. We've traded sideways. That could mean one of two things. It either means, one, that the bulls are exhausting themselves to keep us up here and trade sideways rather than having a healthy correction down to levels of support that we'll be talking about later in the video, or it could also, on the flip side, mean the bulls are just so strong that they don't need a pullback. There's an argument to be made for both sides, but I want you to be aware that there's two ways that you can interpret that. And the reason I want you guys to understand that is because Bitcoin being in an uptrend here does pretty strongly indicate that we're going to have a bullish breakout, but at the same time, there's definitely a possibility that Bitcoin doesn't break bullish and then we break to the downside. This is a sideways trading pennant, and technically it should break up, but it can break either way. As you guys can see, there's about 14 hours left in this consolidation pattern before Bitcoin has to break either one of these, the uptrend or the downtrend, or as you guys know, Bitcoin can sometimes just trade sideways and ignore the uptrend and downtrend. In this case, though, I have a feeling we're going to have a breakout. Bitcoin has been stagnant here for the last several days, but that isn't really making a whole lot of sense with how much volatility we've seen in Bitcoin over the last month or so. I expect that we're going to actually have some kind of breakout from here. As you guys know, when you enter a consolidation pattern like this, the tension builds as Bitcoin gets closer and closer and closer and tighter and tighter and tighter, and boom, eventually we break either to the upside or to the downside. Now, in this video, I'm going to be showing you the bullish case and the bearish case, but I want to make it well known up front, I'm leaning slightly more bullish than bearish on this, but only slightly. You'll understand why here in just a minute. For the bearish case, let's get that out of the way first. What is the bearish case here on Bitcoin? Well, for one, Bitcoin's MACD on its daily chart, even though it did cross bullish about a week ago, we're now starting to converge bearish again. That is kind of a sign that if Bitcoin were to break to the downside here, that we would probably have a bearish cross and that Bitcoin would continue a new downtrend. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to cause Bitcoin to fall to the downside, but if Bitcoin does indeed fall to the downside, it would probably cause a bearish MACD cross and exacerbate the downtrend that had just started in that alternate scenario. And that would make a little bit of sense because Bitcoin's RSI is somewhat overextended right now up here in the overbought territory. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. When the RSI is sitting up around 60 to 70, that normally means, hey, we're in a bull market. Good. But there's always an argument to be made that we could see a little bit more of a correction. So if Bitcoin does have a correction here and Bitcoin falls to the downside, that's not necessarily an unhealthy thing unless Bitcoin does what I'm about to show you. As you guys can see, we're seeing something bullish come in here in just a second. And I'll mention this again in a minute when we talk about the bullish case. We have the 20 exponential moving average about to cross the 200 daily simple moving average. That is a very important cross. And I think Carl talked about that in his video. So go watch his video. Shameless plug. But if Bitcoin breaks to the downside here, it would likely be getting there in about 2 days, right when this cross happens, and Bitcoin would be probably bouncing off of those moving averages. They're very strong. I don't really expect Bitcoin to fall down below both of those, but if Bitcoin did, then we'd probably fall down here to the 100 as well, and maybe even down to the 50 when those two start converging and crossing as well. I really don't think that's going to happen, guys. I think if Bitcoin breaks to the downside, I think there's a pretty decent chance that Bitcoin does break to the downside, maybe 30 to 45% that Bitcoin does that, and if it does, it'll probably probably come down here and test this level of support and bounce. Now, as for the bullish case, guys, well, there's a pretty obvious part of the bullish case, and that is, hey, Bitcoin's in a bullish pennant. Bitcoin's in a bull flag. Bitcoin is in a bull pennant. When we see Bitcoin move into those, statistically, it's more than likely that Bitcoin's going to break to the upside. Furthermore, as you can see, Bitcoin is also testing the 100 hourly simple moving average here as a level of support. It's not just this uptrend. This moving average is also corresponding with that uptrend, meaning that we have quite a lot of support. That would indicate that Bitcoin's going to bounce to the upside and break bullish. If it does that, then that would be a great place to put a long, and this would be a great place to put a short. We'll get into the what's the trade segment later on in the video, though. And hey, guys, Bitcoin's already in an uptrend. It would make sense for Bitcoin to continue that uptrend. As you guys know, the trend is your friend until it ends. And lately, we've been getting even farther and farther away from that bearish downtrend. This longer-term bearish downtrend, the further we get to the upside, the closer we get to 10,000, the farther away we get from those lows, the more likely it is that we have actually shifted the trend and that we're now bullish. And I'm really starting to feel that we are indeed bullish, even though we still need to be careful because it's young. If Bitcoin breaks to the upside here, Bitcoin could pretty easily rally all the way up to $10,000. The top on that is hard to define. Someone was asking me, Jeb, I'm going into a long, where should I put my sell order in the first cohort live stream a few days ago? And I said to them, you know, I'll try and find a level for you, but the thing is, above Bitcoin right now, there's no real well-defined levels of resistance except for $10,000 because we're above all of our moving averages. We're above a lot of the VPVR support. There's no real VPVR climax. I mean, there's one up here at 10,400, so maybe you could call one of these peaks up here a level of resistance, but there's not a whole lot of flat levels of resistance that everybody agrees on. Now we're kind of just trudging through a zone of resistance. So if Bitcoin breaks to the upside here, it's anyone's guess where exactly it's going to top out, unless we bring out Fibonacci, in which case there's an argument to be made that we could top out at the 0.5 level, which again is around $10,000. Anyway, one last thing on the bullish camp, and then we're going to move on here. I do want to point out that on the daily chart, the MACD might be converging bearish again, but at the same time, we're about to see not one, but two bullish golden crosses on that daily chart. That is very significant because, as I told you guys, the alignment of moving averages is very important. We have the longest term, longer term, shorter term, shortest term in alignment. That's a bearish alignment of moving averages. Where we see the opposite when the 200's on bottom and the 20's on top, then what we see is what we're seeing right now down on the hourly chart, or at least we were a little while ago. The 20, the 50, the 100, and then the 200. That is a bullish setup for the moving averages. One thing I want to point out for the bears is that since Bitcoin's been trading sideways here, these two have started to have crosses, but that's not necessarily the end of the world. So what's the point here, guys? What is the point of all this analysis? Where is Bitcoin heading? Like I said at the beginning of the video, I am feeling ever so slightly more bullish on Bitcoin. If the only two options for Bitcoin were to break bullish and break bearish, and we're not including the possibility that Bitcoin trades sideways, I would say there's probably about a 55 to 60% chance that Bitcoin is going to break to the upside through the top of this resistance in today's trading day. And there's a pretty substantial chance that Bitcoin breaks to the downside. There's a 55 to 60% chance that we're going to break up. Then, of course, there's a 40 to 45% chance that we could break down. The thing is, if Bitcoin breaks to the downside, then we could also get support here on 91.75 and then bounce. So even a bearish breakout isn't necessarily a major bearish thing. It only becomes more bearish if Bitcoin falls all the way down here to these moving averages and causes a bearish cross on the daily chart, and then things could snowball from there. But that's a possibility, and we'll talk about that more in the future if it comes to it, but that's not necessarily what I think is most likely, even though it's definitely possible. And I want you guys to understand that it is possible. There are a lot of people that are like, oh, Bitcoin's just going to the moon. We don't need to worry about anything. We're not quite there yet, okay? Just hold your horses. Anyway, guys, with all that analysis, where's the trade? Okay, I don't like doing too many of these segments because I worry that if I say, hey, guys, think about entering here, then someone's going to be like, oh, Jeb said to enter at X number. I'm just going to throw my life savings in and then blow it, and then I don't want that to happen. So, guys, when I show you these entry positions, please understand that they're only ideas. That's why they're called trade ideas, not entries necessarily over in the first cohort. They are entries, but they're entries that I want you guys to take with a heavy grain of salt and use your own analysis in. That's why I teach you guys analysis, so you guys can go and do this on your own. It's very important that you're able to do that. With that said, obligatory, this is not financial advice moving forward, Bitcoin is likely about to have a breakout. If Bitcoin breaks to the upside, an entry around $9,500, right around there, looks pretty healthy. Now, remember, on this trade, Bitcoin has a high right there. So there's a potential that you'd enter a trade right here and it'd turn around right there. This is a trade that if you're going to make this long position, so long as Bitcoin is below this high, you want to be watching it like a hawk because Bitcoin could reverse at any time. Bitcoin could very easily come up here to 9,570, even all the way up to like $9,625 up here and reject because it's setting just a small, just an ever so slightly higher high. That's kind of what happened over here, guys. Bitcoin had a downtrend of resistance resistance right there, and people entered trades, and then Bitcoin didn't move very far because it just didn't have a lot of exuberance at the time. So understand that if you go long here, Bitcoin could go to $12,000 or it could go to $9,574, okay? That's why it's hard to set up an exact entry position. It's hard to set up an exact exit position on a trade like that. With a short, on the other hand, if you're thinking about going short, and honestly, you want to be in a position where you can do both trades in case, so that you're ready for either direction that Bitcoin moves. An entry position down here around $9,250 to $9,300 looks nice, where Bitcoin's falling below this moving average, and then you could try and have an exit position down here around 91.75, around that support. And then if Bitcoin exacerbates that rally, you could see Bitcoin come down to around $8,900 and then exit your position down there. One thing that I might do if I set up this trade is I'd have 50% of my position closed right here, and then if it goes lower, I'd have the other 50% closed down there. Remember, you can enter a position on multiple different levels and exit a position on multiple different levels. It can be more complicated than just one entry and one exit. People oftentimes forget that. That's where dollar cost averaging in and out of trades comes from, is more than one entry and more than one exit for technically one trade. Sort of. All I know is this, guys. Bitcoin is looking very, very bullish for the next several months, especially moving up into the halving. Stock-to-flow ratio is going to be increasing. The amount of Bitcoin being circulated is going to start decreasing in the amount that's produced. The fundamentals are looking great in this space. There's a lot of good news coming out. There's regulation coming out. There's a lot of uncertainty in traditional finance right now, which is probably going to drive valuation into Bitcoin. The technicals are looking great. The fundamentals are looking great. Everything looks fantastic on Bitcoin. The last thing that we need, and I'll be doing dedicated videos on this relatively soon, the last thing that we need is more retail interest and more funds, more money, more liquidity flowing into this space, because one of the problems that Bitcoin has right now is Bitcoin can only go so far from the veteran analysts and the veteran traders. Like, I'm in the space every single day, but there's only so many people that are in crypto every day. We need to get some of those people that have left to come back and bring their money with them, because it's very important that we have that buying pressure and that bullish fuel so that Bitcoin can continue that rally. With that said, there is one last thing I want to show you, and it's really cool. Guys, if you're in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, there's a video over there on the 3 white soldiers pattern. In fact, it's in a video on candlestick formations. In that video, you will find something called the 3 white soldiers pattern, where you have 1, 2, and 3 green candlesticks of roughly the same size and very small wicks below themselves. And as you guys will know, those of you who are in CT2A will know, when you see a 3 white soldiers pattern, that is normally the start of a bull market. It's normally the start of an uptrend. It's normally the start of bullishness. And another thing to keep in mind, this 3 white soldiers pattern started a day before this bullish cross on the MACD, and it started at the same time as a bullish cross on the weekly chart MACD. It started with a test and a hold of the 20 daily exponential moving average. It came in at an amazing time. Bitcoin's trading sideways right now, but if we break to the upside, the sky's the limit, guys. We could be back to $20,000 this year very easily. So I want you guys to remember that. As I always say, the key word in this space, wait for it, it's patience. Patience is key, guys. If you have no patience, I promise you, you will have no return. So make sure you're patient in this market, and also make sure, most importantly, that you hit that subscribe button. Guys, the red button is down below. It's begging to be pressed, guys. I've been recording for 24 minutes. I think we deserve a subscribe. Hopefully, I've earned it. If I haven't, then feel free not to. But also, if you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like button. But before we go, I do also first want to mention that we've just started a new sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. With the coupon code February 2020, you're going to get $40 off on checkout. And by the way, this entire academy is about to be completely overhauled. We have a new camera, we have a new microphone, I have a new studio, I have all kinds of new planning for this new course, and there is going to be so much content in here. And the really cool thing is, for the 1,136 members of CT2A right now, when those updates come out to the academy, they get them for free. But people who buy the academy a year from now, when it's worth $300 or $400, they're not going to be getting them for no charge. If you join the academy now for $159 with that coupon code, you're going to be getting access to all 34 videos and 10 hours of content that is worth every single penny. But when those updates of 50 new videos come out, you're going to be getting access to every single one of those for free. I don't do DLC. My name is not Electronic Arts. My name is Jeb McAfee, in case you didn't know. We teach you everything from the very basics of technical analysis, from how to set up TradingView, because I know that can be complicated for you guys who are newer to the space, all the way down here through the far more advanced concepts. Everything I've talked about in this video, everything, every single technical pattern formation, everything is in this course, and you need to know all of it if you're going to be a skilled, advanced, and profitable trader. It's very important that me you understand it. So here's what I'm going to say to you guys. If this sounds like a good deal to you, join with the link in the description down below. There's a 14-day money-back refund guarantee. I will give you a complete refund if that is what you so desire. But if you're still not convinced, what I want you to do is join our free Discord server down below and go type in the main chat, hey, is anyone here in CT2A? Is anyone here in Jeb's course? Can I talk to you in private and get your take on it? I am confident enough in the product that we built here that I want you to go and talk to our students behind closed doors where I can't see the conversation. I want you to get their take on it because, guys, I can throw up 200 testimonials here on screen, but frankly, guys, those can be photoshopped. I don't want to do that. Go talk to our students. I want you to see what they have to think because I know what they're going to say. I know that they're going to say that they have gotten a lot of value out of the course because that is the truth. But anyway, guys, if you want to support the channel while also encouraging your growth in the cryptocurrency space, CT2A is linked down below. The funds from that sale are going to be going to a massive new project that we're working on behind closed doors that you guys will be finding out about here in the next few months. But anyway, guys, that is going to have to wrap it up for today's video. But before I go, I do first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, though. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.